A very warm welcome to you wherever it is you're tuned in from Kenya, East Africa, and around the world. This is TECHOVER, the show that discusses all things technology. My name is Brian Jojetieno, and on this episode, we'll be talking about big data and why it's important for your business, yourself, even your personal life, to make decisions based off of personal, tailored data and information, and why actually it's more important to have qualitative data than quantitative. How true is that? In the media, we normally say that numbers don't lie, yes, but they don't tell the whole truth. So how about that? But before we get into that discussion, let's now get the tech news of the week.
The government can now go ahead with its plans of registering people and issuing new generation national identity card, also known as Maisha card. This is after High Court Judge John Chikiti lifted earlier orders that had suspended the plans. The judge has further directed that the matter be transferred to the Constitutional Human Rights Division for hearing and determination. The Friday court decisions provides much-needed relief to the government, allowing it to move forward with issuing third-generation IDs, Maisha number, and digital IDs. Meta said on Thursday that it has started to test two most requested features, drafts and in-app camera. Instagram head Adam Mosseri said that both features are available to only a small number of people currently. Users who have access to the draft can now save only one post, which is known as a banner. You can write the post but might want to post later in the composer and just swipe down to save the draft. The Threads app also shows a different composer icon in the bottom bar when there is a saved draft that you haven't posted yet. Finally, the Kenya Bureau of Standards (KEBS) has banned the importation of used electric vehicles with a battery life of below 80%. The Quality Inspection Service Incorporated of Japan will determine the quality of second-hand cars imported into the country from Japan, the UK, UAE, Thailand, South Africa, and Singapore. According to a notice issued on February 19th, imported goods should conform to the standards set by verification agencies before any sale is made. Electric vehicles are set to replace fuel-powered cars and motorcycles to reduce carbon dioxide emissions in cities globally.
Time now for that Africa-centric data and why big data is pushing business decisions. I'm now joined by Dr. Shiko, who is the CEO of Kala. Good to see you, Dr. How long have you been doing this?
This is our 5th year, miracle. It's our 5th year, and as an entrepreneur, when you start doing something, every day is survival mode, and you're always deep doing stuff. You don't sometimes acknowledge the growth until some people just tell you, oh, you've grown a lot, or something significant happens that allows you to just celebrate your wins. Yeah.
Great. So we're in the era of big data, and everyone is saying data is the new oil. But just how important is data in making business decisions?
Data, let me talk about data before we talk about big data, because there's a bit of a difference, right? Data, as people say, it's the new oil, it is all of these things. But what data does, it informs decision making, yeah? And people say what cannot be measured, cannot be counted or be relied on, yeah? So somebody says, in God we trust, everything else is data. So data is extremely important in trying to understand your circumstances, your users, your environment, the decision you're going to make next. And every time you speak, people think about data, they think all of this as crunching data, an Excel sheet, a big data platform. No, but use data on your everyday decision making. You are given option 1 and option 2 to make a decision. That is data. And data is based on what you know currently, what your circumstances are telling you, and what you feel about the future, which is prediction, which is informed by what has happened to you in the past and what the current environment is presenting to you. All that is data. It's not always ones and zeros, but it's the information that comes to you that allows you to make a decision. That is data, and it is very important from your own personal life in how you're making a decision to how you're going to be running your business, how you're going to be interacting with different people.
So, in your words, quantitative data is not just enough.
In fact, qualitative data is much more important than quantitative data. Yes. So Jeff Bezos says something very important, yeah? If your customer sentiments or your customer feedback, which is very qualitative, disagrees with your quantitative data, take the qualitative, the feedback from the customer. And why is that? Because sometimes data, because it's anonymized and it's a lot of it, and we are all human beings. And as you're writing those algorithms, and as we are analyzing that data, it will be biased by our own perception. But when the customer tells you as it is, they tell you, this sucks. Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, there are no two ways about it. Your data might tell you, no, they might tell you a few things. It will tell you why it sucks. But the customer, from a qualitative point of view, tell you, it sucks, change it. They will not come back as a customer. And that's their decision about it, yeah.
Part of your role as Scala is advancing or catalyzing the uptake of digital solutions and, of course, digitization in Africa. What is data and research playing in accelerating this uptake of digitization in Africa?
So, unfortunately, Africa is very poor in R&D, research and development. So what we've become is consumers of other people's research. We are consumers of other people's products. We are quoting other people's data. We are writing models based on other people's perception of Africa. So which puts us at a disadvantage when it comes to innovation and building things that are very contextually relevant and commercially viable for this continent. Yeah. So, and because I've been in the innovation space for a long time, people think innovation is a light bulb moment, yeah? So I've had the privilege, and I call it a privilege, of working with some of the biggest companies in the world. I've worked for both Microsoft and Google. The R&D takes ages. Before you see something, interacting with something, it's not an overnight thing. It did not happen yesterday. They've been working on it for a long time. But in Africa, people think, I'm going to go, we are going to brainstorm, I'm going to do this and do that. So what we are trying to inculcate is that do your homework. Excellence is not done with mediocre work, with mediocre processes. Do your homework and do your homework well. And part of doing your homework is doing that research, understanding who is your customer, understanding what is the pain point of that customer, understanding their full ecosystem. And especially in Africa, we are very complex. Yeah? We live in communities. Yeah? And our communities affect how we think, how we buy, how we get educated. I mean, if I speak to every 2 Africans, one of them, their village changad to go to school. Yeah? So when people talk about black tax, for one of them will take offense, the other one will not take offense, because they're saying these villagers are the ones, each one of them gave 50 shillings, 100 shillings to send me to secondary school. Yeah? So it is up to me, the money I get, to take another child to school. Why? Because even me, I'm a product of that. Yeah. And so when people are talking about things like that, they don't understand the context of that. And that's why when people talk about remittance in Africa being the highest, I'm not surprised. Why? Villagers, some of them sold their cows because our child, it's not my child, it's our child, has gotten a program to go to the US. And if you don't understand that and you're building a product for Africa, it's going to fail because you're going to be building for Brian. But Brian is a makeup of his whole community. And his community is not in Nairobi. It's somewhere in the village that is not in the map. Yeah.
You have been doing some studies on Gen Zs and how they take up InsurTech. First of all, what are some of the glaring characteristics of Gen Zs in taking up insurance?
Most of our population is way under the age of 20. Yeah. This is the market that we should be addressing. Yeah. This is the market that we should be building stuff for. It's highly ignored. Yeah. In the next 24 years, we'll be the world's workforce. 1 in every 3 adults of working age will be in Africa. They don't want a permanent 8 to 5 job. And you know what an 8 to 5 job gives you? It gives you insurance, life insurance, health cover, wellness, all the pension scheme, all these things, yeah? But these kids don't want any of this stuff. They even don't want to buy a house or a car. Yeah, Airbnb and Uber is their life, yeah? What are we solving for them? Yes, they don't have the liquidity right now, but in the next couple of years, they're making solid money. If you're working remotely, on average, you should be able to be making, our goal is to be able to, like the teams that we're working with, to be making at least $300 a month, yeah? And that is not from an employer that is going to give you an insurance or giving any other product. How do you then start responding to their needs? Because we know in Africa, as I have just mentioned, we are a product of the village. If anything happens in the village, if your parent gets a disease, if your parents' cows are stolen or something, it's your income that is going to go and cater for it. How are we going to help safeguard that income for them? How are we going to teach them to save, to protect themselves? If somebody gets sick, they go back to poverty. How do you help them get that? They will not go and buy insurance for $1,000 a year. Who? $1,000, I might go to Kilifi or Lamu, yeah, or they not even buy a land in Katani as we used to do it, yeah. So the goal is to look at these Gen Zs and start building products for them, because they're coming en masse into the productive age. They're coming, a lot of them, to the productive age. And our goal is to look at them and say, what are the products that you actually want? But more than that is, what are your user habits? Which is the one thing that we ignore a lot when you're building products, is we're saying this product is great for a Gen Z, tick, 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 but what is my user habits? What is my user habits? Yeah, Gen Zs are if it's not on Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, it did not happen. Yeah, so our goal is to be able to understand what are their user behaviors, what are their motivations, yeah, and what then are their needs. Then how do you solve for their needs based on their user behaviors and their motivations and aspirations? These kids don't care, yeah? Then how do you meet their needs? So one of our products is Motomatic by AI Care, which is one of the startups in the lab, that is saying, if you live in a city like Nairobi, you drive less than 10,000 miles. Why should I take an insurance for the whole year? Because I'm driving my Audi, and because that's what Gen Zs drive. They stopped doing Subarus because they don't get insured for Subaru. Nowadays, they move to Audi. I get my nice Audi. I come and park at the basement of a Java or another co-working space. I work for my 8 hours. I go back home. Yeah. Why should I pay for the whole insurance for as if I'm driving 30,000 miles a year? Yeah. And that is attractive for them, because they're saying, I'm covering for the moments I'm driving this car. It's solving for what they need. They don't want this long-term thing. It's YOLO. You only live once. We are maximizing on today. In fact, most of the Gen Zs in this office are always saying, we have to be in the present. Be in the present. Be present. Let's ensure for being present, not for being in 2025. Yeah.
So with this disruptive sort of approach of Gen Zs to InsurTech or insurance general as a product, how should financial institutions and insurers and underwriters prepare themselves for modeling products for Gen Zs?
Part of innovation, part of what we do, is make sure you're building sustainable businesses. Because if I don't build an innovation that is sustainable, I can't face a board of any corporate and tell them, please hire me to help me with your innovation. They ask me, so my money can get lost? No. I need to go with a proposition that is going to show you, yes, the first 18 months, you're not going to make enough money, but after 18 months, you're going to get to break even and start being profitable.
You work closely with Better Lab, which is an incubator by Britam. And in Africa, we get statistics that startups fail in the first 6 months, and those that are lucky to go 8 months have a higher chance of getting to 1 year. How important is the role of incubators or incubation hubs for startups?
So our thesis, so we have part of Color, we have something called the Q Lab. And our thesis is that many startups fail because they not because of lack of great ideas or great problems. We start from a problem point of view, because we realize the problems can be there, but the solutions usually is what we call a product market fit, lack of product market fit. many founders, including myself, we start with enthusiasm, yeah? Then the reality checks in very quickly, mostly because we don't have the know-how of running a business. So what we've done, especially like in our Q Lab, is when we engage as a founder, we work with their strengths, then provide everything else they don't have. Yeah. So for example, we work with medical doctors because our how we worked even like with the Britam, but we have worked with other corporates to set up their innovation spaces, is we identify the problem, but we identify a subject matter expert. That subject matter expert must understand the problem very, very well. They don't have to understand technology. Yeah? They must understand the problem we are trying to solve. Once they have understood the problem we're trying to solve, then we say, okay, this problem is like this. This part of it can be solved with technology. This is a human problem. Because sometimes we try and solve a human problem using technology and it fails. Yeah? So we work with them very closely to make sure we get to that product market fit place. Once you've gotten to that product market fit place, then the likelihood of success is high, because at product market fit, you already have a commercial viability and user viability, like usage viability already ticked. And it's very important. The thing is, many founders have lots of ego that you need to work through, because everybody's in love with the idea. And I always say, like in product school, like when I was being taught how to do product management, they used to tell us, be ready to call your product ugly. And the first thing we tell founders is, imagine your child, guy, they're ugly and they hate you, then they go back, they go away for like a few weeks and they come back because they go and try it and see, am I going? Then we tell them it's actually ugly. We're not saying it's bad. We just have to make it beautiful and work. And until a founder gets the humility to understand that the problem is great, the product needs a bit of work, then we are good to go. Yeah.
Why the name Kala, by the way?
Kala is Mala, which is Zulu, which means to spark or to start. As you know, in Africa, every word has like dual meanings. So it means to spark, to like the act of starting or sparking a fire. And for us, it's sparking a fire of innovation. Our goal is to catalyze Africa's digital future. And you know, a fire just catalyzes the cooking process. It does not do much. And that's our goal is, we want to spark the digital revolution on the continent.
Dr. Shiko, thank you so much for giving us this much value on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've been speaking to Dr. Shiko, who is the CEO of Kala, big data firm, and she's just been talking to us about how important it is for you to make data-driven decisions in your business and in your life. Let's take a short break. We'll be back with Startup of the Week. Welcome back. You're watching TECHOVER, the show that discusses all matters technology. Time now to know the innovator of this week. And remember, this is a show that we give every innovator in Africa an opportunity to showcase the solutions they're building for the problems in Africa. Time now for Startup of the Week. Here we go.
The typical African would be fascinated with land investments, as from time immemorial, they have been regarded as a sure store of value with low to no risk at all. But with the inception and growth of fintechs, founders are pushing the digital investments narrative and investments options for clients to take up. One such fintech is Frank, a South African investment platform. Frank has democratized investing by making it easy and simple for all South Africans to finally be able to start investing within a few minutes right from their phones.
We're focusing on more like traditional investments. We know a lot of people like to save, but the problem with saving is that you don't earn much of a return. You know, you're keeping the money in a bank account or under your mattress. So we're trying to, get people that are doing that and have some money set aside to actually put it in a product that can actually earn a return, keep up with inflation, or even beat inflation.
Founded in May 2018 by Sebastian Patel and Thomas Brennan, Frank was born out of the idea of making investments affordable, accessible, and social. Brennan is an engineer with a doctorate in machine learning, while Patel is an actuary with 15 years of experience in financial services. The company has grown in strides since its inception, with the team growing to 20 members. Investing products can be overwhelming, which causes customers to be intimidated before they even get started. To minimize complexity, they narrowed the investment choices available on the app to just 2 funds, the Alan Gray Money Market and the Satrix 40 ETF. Their aim is to make investments as easy and uncomplicated as possible.
It depends on what product you're in. So in South Africa now, the money market rate that our customers are getting around 8% a year, and that's with very little risk. And that's where we encourage our customers to put money in if they're saving for something in the short term. So like, an emergency fund or a holiday or something. But we can also, some of our customers can access the stock market, but there the risk and reward is a bit different to the money market fund. You need to be invested in the stock market for a longer period of time before it makes sense, because the stock market can go up and down. So we recommend, stock market investing is best for at least 3 years, but preferably if you've got a 5 or 7, 10-year investment horizon. At the moment, we might introduce, a crypto product in the near future, also maybe an offshore product, because the product that we have for stocks is a South African product where you get exposure to the biggest companies on the local stock exchange, but we might introduce an American rand-based product as well.
The other bigger challenge in South Africa is the income disparity, which really affects investors' residual and disposable incomes for investing. The main barriers regarding retail investing in South Africa center around product complexity and minimum investment requirements.
So the issue with South Africa is that it's one of the most unequal countries in the world when it comes to wealth and income inequality, right? So you get a lot of rich people, a lot of poor people. But there is quite a big middle class, and those are the people that we want to try and service. Because obviously the people, if they don't have money, then they can't invest. But we know that there's a lot of people who do have some surplus income that just don't know what the best thing to do with it is, and they keep it, like I said, in a bank account where there's fees and you're not earning any return. Whereas you can put it in a product like ours and actually, get a decent return.
5 years on, Frank has been recognized as a leading investment app despite the numerous challenges they face in the African market. In 2020, the fintech raised $300,000 in funding within the first half of 2020, which formed part of a wider round of seed investments.
So it's very regulation heavy, especially in South Africa. So our license that we have, allows us to give advice to our customers. So we are what's called an FSP in South Africa. But yeah, if we want to expand anywhere else, then we would need to get licenses in those jurisdictions as well. Okay. Hopefully we've built Frank into a proper business, and servicing a lot of customers, a lot more products, and yeah, we really want to help people just be a lot better with their money.
In business and financial journalism, the primary aim of Nation Media Group's journalism is pegged on giving the correct information to make investment decisions and or diversify the investments. While at it, identifying startups like Frank that democratize investment through applications give the next frontier of investors more options in asset classes. And that's our startup of the week.
Very well, that's our innovator of the week. Let's now get the tech tip of the week and then we'll just wrap up. On Tech Tip of the Week this week, we are reviewing the all-new Samsung S24 Plus, which is one of the models in Samsung's range of S24 series. Now, this mobile phone came out about a month ago, and Samsung's biggest selling point this year in the launch of the S24 units has been the Galaxy AI, which is an artificial intelligence feature that allows you to do a lot more, and we'll be reviewing them on this particular segment over time. Today, I want us to focus on the camera. Now, if you're a content creator or if you are somebody who uses a lot of camera or takes a lot of video, if you're a journalist like myself, then definitely the Samsung S24 Plus camera or any of the Samsung S24 series cameras is for you. For example, the Samsung S24 Ultra, which is the high-end or rather the top spec Samsung S24 series, is powered by a 200 megapixels camera. You heard that right. This one here is a triple or a trio camera. 3 of them that come with 50 megapixels, another one is 10 megapixels, and another one is 12 megapixels.
The S24 and S24 Plus share the same camera system with a 50 megapixels primary sensor joined by a 12 megapixels ultra-wide and 10 megapixels telephoto, offering 3 times optical zoom. The S24 Ultra adds an extra 5 times optical zoom camera and switches out the main camera for a 200 megapixels sensor.
The camera feature is so good that it gives you a lot of arrays if you are somebody who loves cinematography and is into recording and doing a lot of content on your phone, and especially at a time when social media is giving so many young people an opportunity to be content creators and make money out of their content. So if you love recording food content, then you have that over there. If you are a travel vlogger or something of the sort, then you get panoramic feature that enables you to pan through and get you footage that can show wider range of areas, nature, valleys, hills, and the like. If you are someone who is into cinematography and loves cinematography, then you get this slow motion enablement right here from the all-new Samsung S24 Plus. Again, also, if you want a front-facing recording and also a back recording at the same time, then you get it from this rear camera. For example, that is me recording myself in studio, so you can see from the front, and if I put my hand at the back there, you can see it, and then that's me also right there on the selfie. So that is what the Samsung S24 Plus gives you, especially with regard to camera ability. Nothing could ever come close to this. This is the epitome of mobile technology. And just to show you the strength of these cameras, this is how the video looks like when recorded using the Samsung S24 Plus triple camera. So that's what you get on the all-new Samsung S24 Plus. But let's look at the selfie camera. I'll still be recording myself using the same device, and that is also the sound that you get from it. Let's see the selfie. Here is the 12 megapixel selfie or front-facing camera, as you would want to call it. This is what you get on the Samsung S24 Plus. It's a very beautiful camera phone that gives you so much, especially if you're a content creator who likes front-facing footage. So that's what you end up with. That is me inside the studio. I think that's a fair point to leave it at. Thank you so much for tuning on to TakeOver. I hope you learned something new and you become tech savvy. And that's where we wrap up. My name is Brian Georgetano. See you on the next episode, and may tech live forever.